Okay, let's get right into this because there's a storm coming and I'm worried about my internet. About President Donald Trump, Elon Musk, DOGE, stimulus check for Social Security recipients who potentially could get this check. Let's get right into it. Now, here's the basic thing that you need to understand. Okay. When it comes to this check, the main punting that they're doing is that's going to be for tax paying Americans, which means most Social Security recipients are completely out. Now, there's a lot of flashy YouTube channels out there that are saying, what's around the horizon? Easter stimulus check, Christmas stimulus check. They do all that game. They play all that stuff. I don't do that stuff. I'm just giving you a status update as to what's going on with it. So here's the basic thing. Brian Davis did an article on it basically 2 days ago. James Fishback, investment manager who briefly worked with Vivek Ramaswamy in the earliest days of the Department of Government Efficiency, says the idea of Doge dividend payments came to him in a dream. Now, to be fair, I think honestly, if you wanted to present that 20% of savings go to the American people, it's not a bad idea. It's going to make it more popular. It's going to take some heat off of Elon and Donald Trump. But at the same time, the massive issue that this country is facing is that it cannot afford its debt. So I don't know. There's still that main issue with whether or not we're going to be able to go ahead and have an actual stimulus situation. Next, Fishback first tweeted about it on X in February. American taxpayers deserve a Doge dividend. 20% of the money that DOGE saves should be sent back to hardworking Americans as a tax refund check. It was their money in the first place. Since then, both Elon Musk and President Donald Trump have both aired it as a possibility. Now, as you guys know, when it comes to this situation, it's about a tax refund check. Many Social Security recipients, many retired veterans do not have taxable income. Okay, so just right up front, there's going to be certain categories of you that are absolutely difficult to actually make Social Security recipients be able to receive part of this check. Here's why. The main issue, I believe, is that basically, putting it very simple, putting it very straightforward, the main issue, I believe, is that Trump knows 72, 73 million people receive Social Security benefits. And as a result of that, it's a situation where if he wants those people to still love the Republican Party and not absolutely hate it, then the bottom line is that he's going to have to find and carve out some version of a check for Social Security recipients. That means that he will probably consider, I'm not saying he'll do this, but he'll probably consider giving a smaller version of the check and taking away from some of the taxpayers. So let's say that all the Social Security recipients, whether they're on SSI, SSDI, retirement, widows benefits, whatever, would receive, like, let's say a $500 check or a $600 check. Some of you will be like, well, what happened to the $5,000? Probably actual tax paying people will get around $1,500. Okay, not $5,000, but like $1,500 as a tax refund. There is no real expectation in this situation for an individual to go ahead and receive essentially a $5,000, $6,000 check because they are not saving enough money fast enough in a singular year to actually achieve that. Now, if they add up all their years and all their savings, yeah, maybe we get to that. Maybe there's like one big check right before Trump leaves office, because he's term limited. But other than that, this is really just a check for people who are earning and paying taxes in 2025, and then also potentially going back to 2024. And I want to say this, it's not for all taxpayers. A lot of Americans do not realize that low earning taxpayers, like a lot of people under $40,000 worth of earnings, they don't technically pay a lot of taxes. In fact, they get back more than what they pay in taxes. The weird thing is, lower income people actually cost the IRS more than what they pay in taxes. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people, so like when they're saying like people shouldn't have to pay income taxes unless they earn over $150,000. The reason why that is that a lot of the people under $150,000, specifically under $40,000, especially of earnings, they actually cost the IRS more than what they pay in because they don't earn enough to be taxed enough to be like relevant in the whole paying for America. They just don't earn enough. So like if you're ever sitting with somebody and you're like, oh God, I got hit so hard with taxes. Oh, my return isn't anywhere near where it should be. No, they're actually getting more back usually than what they actually paid in. Let's keep rocking and rolling. Who would be eligible? The tax rebate would only go out to American households who pay net positive taxes. Low and moderate income households often collect. Yeah, here you go. I should have read this article ahead of time, but I figured it would cover it. Yeah. Low and moderate income households often collect more in tax credits than they pay in taxes. The Tax Foundation points out that the bottom 50% of earners in the US pay roughly 3% of the total individual income taxes collected by the IRS. So, put another way, is you got 100% of the taxpayers, the bottom 50 only pay 3% of the total individual income taxes collected by the IRS. So, when a lot of people sit back and they're like, oh, I paid so much taxes, compared to obviously people who pay and make a lot more, you're not all 50% below the center line only equate to 3%. It's a spec. That's why when they say, well, we're going to change taxes so that only if you're making over $150,000 do you have to pay taxes, the reason they're doing that is because the people paying taxes under $150,000 worth of earnings don't really matter that much in the scheme of the larger monetary picture, because they just don't pay enough taxes because they don't make enough money. That's the reality. I'm not saying they're bad people. They are the backbone of America. It's just there's, a lot of people earning over $150,000 who pay a hell of a lot more in taxes. All right. Okay, here you go. Here you go. This is the article I read, actually, with Pew Research. An analysis by the Pew Research Center found taxpayers earning below $40,000 generally collect more back in tax credits than they pay in taxes. So these taxpayers would not be eligible for a DOGE dividend check. So putting it very simply, Social Security recipients, whether on disability, retirement, SSI, whatever, SSI people are out. They're out. No matter what, they're out unless they change the parameters of this heavily. SSI people are out. Retired people, SSDI people on a ticket to work program, but latter years of a ticket to work program, like, they've been working for a while, now they're earning over $40,000. Spousal people, like, widows benefits, survivors benefits, where they're, working and earning money and they're over that $40,000 income spot. Those individuals, basically might be able to get a check. But SSI people, the grand majority of SSDI people, most retired people who aren't working right now, they're not going to get a check. Okay. The whole point of this check is to be a boy to taxpayers, the working class, etc. Okay. So let's see. While DOGE dividend is redistribution of wealth, as a tax rebate, it would exclude lower earners. Inflation concerns. One of the reasons the United States suffered high inflation in the wake of the pandemic was overstimulus and flooding the market with too much cash. At a time when inflation continues burning hot, would further stimulus throw more gasoline on the fire? Because remember, if you gave a check to everybody, the poorest people, okay, which is the majority of them, would spend the money on buying stuff that they want. And then, the middle classers and some upper classers, they might, go ahead and invest it in some places, invest here, invest there. And then, of course, the wealthy just goes to investment. They have no use, they have no need for it, right? Okay. So let's see. Fishback argues that it wouldn't. He claims that taxpayer households are more likely to save and invest the money or pay down debts. Fishback is wrong. He's wrong. He's absolutely wrong. People can't afford groceries right now. Yeah, maybe paying down credit cards, sure, but probably buying things that they haven't been able to buy because, let's just be honest, I'm not trying to make a political statement, but, Biden's economic 4 years were a shit show that I never thought it would get that bad. I never thought grocery prices would hit those points. I never thought a lot of things. When he was running for president, his pre-White House website was amazing. His actual White House experience, total shit. Not very good. The worst I've ever seen, All right. Not every financial expert agrees. Quote, I believe the inflation impact would be significant, end quote, said budgeting and personal finance expert Aaron Raisin of Coupon Snake. Quote, if a large amount is distributed among taxpayers, a few will invest it, but many would instead increase their spending. That in turn raises demands, drives up prices, and potentially leads to more disruptions in distribution chains. Yeah, this guy, Aaron Raisin, this guy's right. This guy's right, okay? So Ron McMullen, thank you for the $49.99 donation. I super appreciate it. Let me put a little heart on there. Very, very cool. Excellent. He said, stimulus for Walter. I don't know if I'd get a stimulus because the business earns money and then I get paid through ADP payroll. Although I have to see, because remember, I had a big dip that I'm still trying to climb my way out of from COVID. Because remember, when COVID happened, I had entire groupings of months where I couldn't even pay myself. I had to like just pay the employees. So if it's a 2024 thing, I may not be on the list of people who actually get this stimulus. If it's 2025, if again we're going into a trade war, and again they just cut 7,000 people at the SSA, and again the Social Security Administration is not running properly to begin with, and it's about to turn into full shit show mode. So maybe I don't know, but super thank you for the donation because I really appreciate it, and that's absolutely amazing. So all right. So another thing to kind of keep in mind here, and I agree with this Aaron Raisin. I think he's right on the money. People will just spend more if they get that check, and they'll be buying some of the things to make themselves feel better, and buying some of the things to kind of recoup them into the spot that they're supposed to be after the past 4 years of Biden. Again, I'm not trying to get on Biden. It's just obviously capitalism wise, he was not the strongest president for that. Although he did right at the end of that third year, going into the fourth year of his presidency, became the largest exporter of oil right then and there. Let me tell you, he knew how to run this puppy all along. He just wasn't doing it. There was a little of that jazz in it too. All right, Joseph Camberado, I'm not sure, CEO of the National Business Capital, agreed, quote, "We all saw what happened when the government handed out stimulus checks during COVID. The impact would be smaller this time since it's a one-time payment instead of an ongoing flow of money, but it would still add extra cash into the economy, which pushes prices up." One thing that's sad that a lot of people don't realize is the reason they never gave you another COVID stimulus, or what the other YouTube channels were selling. They were selling like, Easter bunny stimulus, Christmas stimulus, Halloween stimulus, they were selling that junk. The one thing you don't realize is that the reason they don't give you more money is that the more they squeeze you as a Social Security recipient and make you poor, the better the economy does, because it creates basically a stronger dollar by increasing the demand of the dollar and decreasing the value of the item that is essentially purchased. So basically, worth of dollar goes up, value of item goes down, which is the sad part of this. That's why they never did an additional stimulus under Biden, is because he needed the poorest classes to be poor so that the dollar could strengthen, right? Because if poor people get money, they spend it, right? If rich people get money, they invest it, they just put it away, yada, yada. Okay. Likelihood of DOG dividend checks. Let's take a look real quick as to what they had to say there. Okay, just how realistic is the prospect of these checks going out to the U.S. taxpayers? Financial experts disagree. Quote, "I don't see DOGE dividends happening." Camberado added, "Even with the cuts DOGE is making, we're still running at a deficit. It doesn't make financial sense to cut and then continue to give money away." He's not wrong. I think he's right. We have the problem of not being able to pay our credit cards. We have the problem of not being able to pay our debts. We have the problem of not being able to go ahead and complete basic functional, I mean, the government almost shut down again. We can't afford our monthly dues. We're printing money just to be able to afford to continue to pay Social Security benefits for the administration of it, SSI benefits, etc., and also to work on our, special interest bonds that we convert a lot of our Social Security FICA taxes into. So, look, if they came back and said absolutely no stimulus, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Wouldn't surprise me in the least. Next one, Lucas Barcello, founder of insurance corporation Thrive in Life, isn't so sure. The Trump administration has a lot to prove. He added that the administration needs some early wins with the public to build momentum. That's not wrong. Trump has been changing so many things so quickly, and Elon came in like a private, industry auditor, which is like, boom, hit hard, just hit that hard. He came in and was modifying, changing, going into agencies, federal groups, administrations, like they would in the private industry. And that freaked out politicians and directors and commissioners like none other. I mean, you've been seeing that. Everybody was like, my information is out there. Truthfully, I don't believe the actual politicians gave a bleep about Elon getting access to your information. They claim that, oh, he's going to use it to make money. They claim that, but I got to be honest, I don't think the politicians, the Democrats and Republicans, ever really cared about that. They were just afraid that certain things would be found, and they were also afraid that like their control over aspects of those administrations, like the special side divisions, might get hacked off very quickly. And that the more, info basically Eon through DOGE had, the quicker he was going to find these things and start hacking them off, which he did. And that's exactly what happened. Now, other people, of course, argue that he's got this master plan to take over the earth. I think that's true. And I think Mars is part of it. So, it is what it is. All right, next thing. We got some thunder and lightning. I gotta hurry up here real quick. All right, whether DOGE dividends come to pass or not, don't loosen your budget. Raisen observed these kinds of speculative proposals can give Americans a false sense of security. Yeah, big thing here. Please don't expect a DOGE check. Just don't. They're putting out numbers with DOGE that basically, to be fair, they're finding this much fraud and this many billions and this many billions and this many billions. A lot of those are running into issues where it's actually a much smaller number than what they're actually finding. So, or what they're claiming to find rather. So just remember, the success of their ability to save money has not been a road that's been perfectly going for them. It's been a road where basically they've made a lot of mistakes. Remember the Doge kids, right? The program, they made some mistakes about how much they're actually saving. And then not to mention the court system keeps making them hire back employees, keep paying for, basically programs that Congress already passed, sending things to Nigeria, whatever, stuff like that. So, they haven't been able to cost cut like they had hoped. All right. So let's look at this. So who would among Social Security recipients be due, right? So let's go through this. Only people towards the end of a ticket to work program, if they were working, or those who are retired. And Shadow, come on, Bubba, snuggle. All right, only basically people who are working, right? And not people who just start a job but are earning over $40,000. And so the reality with this situation is, gosh, so many people who constantly text me. My phone is not supposed to allow text through, but then once they build up to a certain point, it pops them through. But the bottom line is this. It's, oh God. Shadow, come here. Sorry, guys. It's just, there's a mega storm outside. So the big thing, now we got 3 puppies. Now it's going to get worse. All right. So here's the bottom line. And I'm going to give you a quick dog update. Shadow is still working on surgery. Georgia may not be able to do it. He might be too small of a dog for them. I've contacted the group that actually makes the little metal pieces that go into the dog's leg. They've got this innovative one that screws in differently than the other ones. Maybe they'll be able to help with it. I don't know. We're going to see. But anyways, real quick update. People working, earning over $40,000 who basically, are either retired or on disability benefits or receiving spousal benefits or survivor's benefits. But SSI people are completely out. Most SSDI people completely out. Most retired people obviously aren't working. They're completely out. Those individuals, only the ones that are working over and earning over a certain amount. Other than that, disabled adult child benefits, definitely not working. Definitely not working. So as a result, I just saw somebody put down, I have 35 to 40 cats. That is next level mom catting right there. That is like the highest level of that is a lot of kids. You have a cat farm. That is a cat farm right there. So anyways, I will basically say this. I don't think the overall objective of what people are selling to a lot of, the people who watch videos, I don't think the overall objective of this is to go ahead and make sure Social Security recipients receive a check. However, you guys have the power to ruin Trump's day if he doesn't go ahead and do a stimulus check from DOGE for you. And here's why. All you have to do is go and change what your voting party is after he's announced that he's only going to be giving it to this group of people. And that's going to send a very clear message to Donald Trump that you, as a part of the fragile class, absolutely expect a portion of those savings to go back to you. Now, on an ethical, moral end of this whole thing, it does not make sense why we would cut fraud, make savings, and not help out Social Security recipients. They're the fragile class. They're the elderly, the disabled. They're all those things. So as a result of that, I think realistically, if it were me, if I were like on Social Security benefits, receiving them, trying to figure out over the next 6 to 12 months what was going to happen with this stimulus so that I made sure that I got some of it, if it were me, What I would do is I would figure out how to basically leverage enough people to make Donald Trump and the Republican Party fear not having Social Security benefits receive a boost going forward. Now, you could do that lots of ways. You could leverage it where the Republicans fear losing you. You could leverage it where you bolster the Democrats to look like they have more of a standing against the Republicans. You could even do a thing where basically, you talk about the economy and show how Republicans haven't been able to instantly turn the economy around. A lot of people are judging Trump right now, but like, to be fair, we're in March. You know what I mean? It's like, we haven't had enough months yet to make this thing a reality. At the same time, 12 months of first year gig, he's doing his, address the nation thing after 12 months. If the economy isn't starting to go in the right direction, I got to be honest with you, Trump then has something to answer for. And remember, Donald Trump has a big problem on the horizon. It's something that we don't really talk much about on here. And some of you are going to say that I like Biden or I like Trump. It's hard to keep up with who's hating me today with the comments, but here's the deal. Donald Trump, he's got a problem in the upcoming future. He has to win a trade war. A trade war could potentially make Americans hate him very quickly and aggressively, because you think things are expensive now. It could get really, really expensive a lot faster. If he can beat the trade war, he will go down as, mega president, super CEO of CEOs, super president of presidents, yada, yada. But if the whole trade war goes to shit, and the Democrats can seize on that, which, Democrats do that. You know what I mean? The Democrats are very good. They're very good at capitalizing on making Republicans look bad. It's only been recently, over the past, I would say, 8 years, that Republicans have gotten online, taken over, channels, done vlogging, all that stuff, and become like the new face of like the online existence. Because, remember, there was a time, I'm curious. Hold on, let me look this up real quick. I don't know the answer to this, but when did Joe Rogan's podcast start? Let's just hold on. Let me look at this real quick. All right, so 2009. Okay. Joe Rogan Experience debuted in 2009. Early years, started products own home, recording with friends. All right, so still a big thing, but it was only until 2020 that he got the Spotify deal. So he was big then when he got the Spotify deal, but now he's much, much bigger. Real quick, Ron McMullen, thank you for the $19.99 donation. Let's see the puppies. I've got Sweetie to my right. I can grab her and lift her up, but she's 90 pounds. She's adorable, but she's chubby. And then Shadow's over here. He's sleeping on the cushion. At the very end of the video, I'll grab one of them, whichever one comes up to me. Although, to be fair, they're kind of chilling out. But bottom line is this: what I would say is, now Republicans kind of own the massive viewer space online when it comes to giving opinions. And I'll say this too: a lot of my friends that are male have gone Republican. And then a lot of the females that I know in my age group have gone more Democrat. Although I will say this, and then Sassy D said Rogan isn't on the right. I would say he's middle right. He's definitely more aligned with Trump than like those far more like Republican in name only Republicans. I would say this: the women, though, that are in my age group in their early 30s tend to be much more heavily leaning Democrat. And when they produce videos, it's Democrat. Shouldn't we have this right? Shouldn't we be doing this thing? However, the women that I know that are reaching into 40 to 45 category, for some reason, they're switching back to more conservative Republican. So I don't know what's going on with that. I have noticed that. I have no understanding as to why that's happening, but I have noticed the youngers at the 30-year-old area, they're super swing Democrat. And a lot of that is just, privacy rights to their bodily, use, what happens with their body, what happens to their, pregnancy rights and options and things like that. And then, of course, the guys are like, guys are having it not a great time either, because guys are like, the expectations of a guy's earnings. I've been on dates where literally, the people, they'll ask, like, women will ask now on a date. On a first date, they'll ask you because women, I'm told way back in the day would never ask like certain hard-hitting questions. But nowadays, like when you go on a first date, they will ask you like, "What do you earn? What do you do?" Blah, 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 blah. They'll go right into it, and you're just like, ah. And then when I tell them what I earn, they're like, you know what I mean? And I think that there's a lot of unfair expectations on guys when it comes to earning abilities. Although I might be wrong. I mean, maybe you know what I mean, because guys are supposed to provide, guys are supposed to, be a financial success and yada yada. So I think women have that expectation because they're looking for somebody who can provide for them a stable environment for them and their children. So, but it's just, I think, honestly, I think Social Security benefits, I think Social Security beneficiaries need every dollar they can get. Honestly, if it were me, instead of giving it to taxpayers, I'd give it to Social Security recipients because the problem is that at the end of the day, people are, no, this is what I'd give it to Social Security recipients and I'd give it to young workers. The reason I do that is because if that young worker would go out and have a good time and meet that other person, she meets him, he meets her, and then they end up having kids as a result, that is the best thing a stimulus could do. Some of you were like, well, it would help me get this, so help me do that. The best thing this stimulus could do is get young people to have kids because retirement benefits, they're talking about, well, we got problems, we got this, we got that. They haven't even gone into the worst problem, which is that our fertility rates are effing horrible. There's not enough babies being born. So I'd probably give, if it were me, it wouldn't be just to taxpayers. It'd be only to young taxpayers, younger people, and basically Social Security recipients, because those to me are the three classes that we have to get: the fragile class, disabled, retired, yada, yada, having some money to be able to put something away, including SSI people. They're the most, like, they can't save, you know what I mean? And then of course you've got the other side, which is the young people. They don't have enough money to go and date. Like, that's one of the things. You ever think about that? Young people now are like SSI people. They can't date. They don't have enough money to date. Movie theaters too expensive. Restaurants are too expensive. Going to do this event, that event, this event, that event. It's all too expensive. They can't date. They're not out there dating. They're not having fun. Then they're not making kids. We need basically a system where ... we can go ahead and, to be fair, have children being born in supportive family units. We do see some children being born in non-supportive family units. I always stay away from that topic because it's always like, who's your baby dada, who's your baby mama, yada yada. It's a tough, and I should talk about it more, but the bottom line is we have to make more Americans fast, and we have to educate them well, and we have to create industries that produce a lot of money quickly. We need like 5 or 6 Silicon Valleys that are new industries, new robot industry, new AI industry, new interplanetary travel industry. We need a lot of big new industries that are like in America, not shipped off to India, not shipped off to China, that are in America producing income. Otherwise, a very tricky, spicy spot. Very, very tricky. Sherry G said, still blaming Biden. Well, I mean, to be fair, how would I not make comments about Biden? I mean, we don't even have enough time to consider Trump's changes as to the outcome that would result from them. Some of them are good, some of them are horrific, but Biden was in for 4 years prior to this. Trump only a couple months. So yeah, I would still for vocational, academia, assessment, analysis purposes, go to the guy who was in last for 4 years. Like that, it wouldn't make sense not to, So, all right. Anyways, bottom line, so Victory XR, universal basic income. I'm actually, as more time goes on, becoming more of a proponent, more of somebody who likes the idea of a universal basic income for people that are in that dating, getting married, creating kids age. And I know that people are like, why would you give it to those kids? They're already lazy enough, blah, 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 blah. Because honestly, we have to get them making kids. We have to, you know what I mean? Like, think about me. I'm just under 40. I got 2 dogs, no wife, no kids, none of that jazz, because I'm constantly working. I have an unhealthy relationship with Social Security. I work at it all the time, and then my hobby is that all the time. So it's just, you know what I mean? But I'll find somebody. We'll have some kids at some point. And then what do you do with them? Do you ever think about that? Think about like what kind of school do you put them in? You know, because these schools, they play with their heads now, and it's just not good. You look at the curriculum, you look at the things they're teaching them, you're like, holy crap, like some of these studies, these programs have nothing to do with how to actually succeed in life. You know, does it bother any of you guys that, like, instead of teaching them more constitutional law and how to create fee petitions and how to go ahead and create a box that a product can fit into and be shelved with, like how to go ahead and build a website, instead of building like into that person's brain, that young person's brain, how to make money, how to make products, how to distribute, how to make sales, how to manufacture. Instead of doing that, we're like doing these topics that are making other countries just beat us in everything. And manufacturing, distribution, raw material acquisition, shipping. I mean, they're kicking our ass in everything. It's not good. So, anyways, I hope you're having an amazing, wonderful weekend. I have to actually go and call a couple of people, kind of catch them up in details. But my belief is that there either won't be a stimulus check or it will be greatly reduced and paid only to taxpayers over $40,000. Or potentially they might do a little bit of a carve out for Social Security recipients, maybe like 200, 500 bucks, just to give them something. They'll have to find the number that will keep Social Security recipients satiated, happy enough with it. I don't know if 200 bucks would be enough. I think probably 750 plus would probably keep them at the point where they were happy while other taxpayers were getting more. I'm not sure though. They'd have to do a study on that to see where it's at. Let's see. Darlin Dar. So wish you could have answered my question. Take care. I don't know what your question is. I don't see it. Keep in mind, you guys, like, unless they highlighted it on there, the script text. Hold on. All right. Dar. Go ahead and put your question at the bottom real quick. Hold on. Let's take a look. Let's see what we got here. Anybody see her comment or her question? 2 times previous. Yeah, but remember, there's hundreds, or not hundreds, but maybe 100 comments. Like, you got to help me out. And you guys you're this tiny in the script thing here. Hold on. So, all right, go ahead. Yeah, guys, if you don't realize, like, my screen, just so you know, oh my, these are really off. There you go. My screen, what you type in there, unless they like highlight it or make it big and, like, you know, make it so that I can see it, it's super tiny. It's super tiny. All right. So anybody help me out with what she said? Nobody likes my glasses. What are you gonna do? Anybody got yeah, Libra loves homeschool. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much, yeah, it's pretty much what I was thinking. Does anybody have her comment after she gave me some snippiness? Okay, cool. Kosher. I think she asked if you are SSDI and contribute voluntarily